What if I told you there's one mineral your entire nervous system cannot function without? The one that keeps your heart beating in rhythm, your muscles from locking up, and your blood sugar from crashing. Most people are drinking themselves further away from it every single day. Not because it's rare, not because it's expensive, because we swapped the mineral-rich drinks our ancestors relied on for soda and coffee that quietly strips it right back out of us. Doctors call this hypomagnesemia. Our ancestors just called it breakfast. Today I'm showing you 20 drinks loaded with this mineral, made with ingredients already in your pantry. Stick around, because number 6 was the actual battle ration carried by Aztec warriors, and number 17 is a drink almost nobody in America has heard of, brewed in monasteries for centuries, that ounce for ounce beats a glass of milk. Hit subscribe, because every week on Healthy Roots we bring you back to the healing wisdom your great-grandparents brewed, without needing a label to tell them it worked. Let's get into it. Here are 20 magnesium-rich drinks that will heal you instantly, ranked from impressive to absolutely incredible. Number 1. Pumpkin seed smoothie, the seed our ancestors never wasted. Long before anyone had the word magnesium, communities across Mesoamerica were roasting and grinding pumpkin seeds into a restorative tonic given to the sick and exhausted. They noticed something simple. The seed from inside the gourd seemed to settle the body in a way other foods didn't. Modern nutrition science now explains exactly why. Pumpkin seeds are among the most concentrated plant sources of magnesium in existence, with a single ounce providing nearly a third of the recommended daily intake. Magnesium is a required cofactor for the enzyme systems that generate cellular energy, relax smooth muscle tissue, and regulate the nervous system's stress response. When it runs low, muscles cramp, sleep turns shallow, and the body sits in a low-grade tension it can't shut off. Nutrition researchers have repeatedly linked pumpkin seed consumption to improved magnesium status and better markers of cardiovascular relaxation, though most are careful to note this reflects a broader dietary pattern rather than one seed acting alone. To make it, blend a quarter cup of raw pumpkin seeds with 1 ripe banana, 2 pitted dates, and a cup of milk of your choice. The banana's potassium works synergistically with magnesium to relax muscle tissue, while the dates round out the sweetness. Some households lightly toast the seeds before grinding, a small step that traditional cooks swore made the flavor rounder and less bitter, and modern recipes still borrow it today. If you want one drink that delivers a fast, absorbable dose of magnesium, using nothing but a food your ancestors already trusted, this is where you start. Pumpkin seeds also carry a meaningful amount of zinc alongside their magnesium, and this particular pairing has been studied for its potential role in supporting deeper, more restorative sleep, which is part why this smoothie tends to show up so often in evening routines rather than strictly as a breakfast option. Store raw pumpkin seeds in an airtight container in the refrigerator rather than a pantry shelf, since their natural oils are prone to going rancid at room temperature far faster than most people expect. Number 2. Cacao Banana Elixir, the Aztec drink reserved for warriors and nobility. Cacao was never treated as candy by the civilizations that first cultivated it. The Aztecs and Maya prepared it as a ceremonial and medicinal drink, reserved for warriors, nobility, and the sick, believed to restore vitality and strength. What they were tasting, without the language for it, was one of the richest magnesium sources in the entire plant kingdom. Raw, unsweetened cacao carries significantly more magnesium gram for gram than almost any other common food, alongside theobromine, a gentle stimulant compound that supports circulation without the jittery edge of caffeine. Magnesium from cacao supports the relaxation of blood vessel walls, part why cacao-rich diets have been associated in clinical research with modest improvements in blood pressure and vascular flexibility. Combine 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cacao powder with 1 frozen banana and a cup of soy milk, which itself carries a meaningful magnesium contribution, and blend until smooth and creamy. The result tastes indulgent, but it's functioning as a genuine mineral delivery system, not a dessert. The distinction between raw cacao and the heavily processed cocoa used in most candy bars matters enormously here, since much of the magnesium and beneficial plant compounds get stripped away during industrial alkalizing. That's exactly why this shake calls for the least processed cacao powder you can find, and drinking in the late afternoon tends to steady an energy dip rather than spike it. Cacao beans were once so highly valued across Mesoamerica that they were literally used as a form of currency, traded for goods, and even used to pay tribute, which gives you a sense of just how central this plant was to daily life long before it ever crossed the Atlantic. If you can find single-origin cacao powder from a reputable source, the mineral content and flavor complexity are noticeably higher than mass-produced blends that mix beans from dozens of unspecified regions together. Number 3. Spinach Avocado Smoothie, the green that quiets the nervous system. Leafy greens show up in nearly every traditional healing tradition on Earth, from Mediterranean wild greens to the collards simmered in southern kitchens for generations. Spinach in particular carries a chlorophyll molecule structurally almost identical to human hemoglobin, and it happens to be one of the most magnesium-dense vegetables available. A single cup of raw spinach delivers a meaningful percentage of daily magnesium needs, and low magnesium status has been directly correlated in research with elevated markers of anxiety and poor stress resilience. Avocado adds a second layer of support, supplying monounsaturated fat that improves absorption of fat-soluble nutrients along with its own respectable magnesium content. Blend 2 cups of raw spinach, half a ripe avocado, 1 banana, and a cup of water or milk until completely smooth. The healthy fat slows digestion just enough to create a steady, sustained release of nutrients rather than a spike and crash. This drink is quiet, green, and unglamorous, but it may be doing more for your nervous system than anything else in your refrigerator. Spinach does contain oxalates, naturally occurring compounds that can modestly reduce mineral absorption in some people, though for the vast majority this is a non-issue at normal serving sizes, and rotating in kale or Swiss chard from time to time is a simple way to diversify intake regardless. Fresh spinach wilts fast, so if you find yourself throwing out half a bag every week, keep a bag of frozen spinach in the freezer instead. Freezing doesn't meaningfully damage the magnesium content, and a handful straight from frozen actually chills the smoothie nicely without watering it down with ice. This is one of the few entries on the list you can genuinely make in under 2 minutes, start to finish, on even the busiest morning. Some people prefer to lightly steam the spinach first and let it cool before blending, a step said to reduce its oxalate content further while still preserving the bulk of its magnesium, though for most people this extra step simply isn't necessary at the quantities used in a single smoothie. Number 4. Chia Lemon Water, the endurance drink of Aztec runners. Chia seeds fuel the runners and message carriers of the Aztec and Maya empires, who packed pouches of the tiny seeds on long journeys because a small handful mixed with water was believed to sustain strength for hours on end. Chia is a genuinely excellent source of magnesium, and when soaked in water it forms a gel-like coating that slows the release of nutrients into bloodstream, delivering minerals gradually rather than all at once. Lemon adds vitamin C, which supports mineral absorption across the gut lining and gives the drink a bright, refreshing edge that makes it easy to consume daily. To prepare it, stir 2 tablespoons of whole chia seeds into a large glass of water with the juice of half a lemon, then let it sit for at least 15 minutes until the seeds swell and gel. Drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Traditional endurance cultures use this exact combination to sustain physical output over long distances, and modern research on chia's mineral density confirms they were onto something real. Because fully hydrated chia is roughly 90% water, this drink also delivers meaningful hydration alongside its mineral content, which matters, since dehydration alone can mimic many of the same symptoms as low magnesium, from muscle tightness to mental fog. It's the simplest drink on this entire list, and one of the most effective. If you're using this specifically around exercise, consider adding a small pinch of sea salt along with the lemon, since sodium helps the body retain the fluid you're drinking rather than passing straight through, which matters most on long, sweaty training days. Some people prepare a larger batch in a mason jar at the start of the week and portion out daily, since the gel chia holds up well in the refrigerator for several days without separating or losing its texture. Number 5. Cashew Banana Shake, creamy comfort with a mineral punch. Cashews don't get the same reputation as almonds or walnuts in most nutrition conversations, but they quietly outperform many other nuts when it comes to magnesium content. Traditional cultures across South Asia and coastal East Africa, where the cashew tree spread after its introduction from South America, work the nut into daily cooking and drinks as a source of sustained energy and satiety. A quarter cup of raw cashews provides a substantial dose of magnesium, along with a gentle, creamy fat that makes this smoothie feel more like a treat than a supplement. Combine a quarter cup of raw cashews, 1 banana, a pinch of cinnamon, and a cup of milk. Then blend until velvety smooth. Cinnamon isn't just flavor here. Research suggests it supports healthy blood sugar regulation, which matters because stable blood sugar reduces the stress hormone cascade that depletes magnesium from your system in the first place. Soaking raw cashews for even 20 minutes before blending softens them enough to produce an exceptionally creamy texture without needing any added dairy, a trick borrowed from plant-based kitchens that also makes the cashews easier to digest. If raw cashews aren't available, roasted unsalted cashews work nearly as well, though raw is preferable when possible since high heat can modestly reduce mineral content over time. This is the drink to reach for when you want something that tastes like dessert, but is quietly repairing your mineral status behind the scenes. If a tree nut allergy is concerning your household, sunflower seed butter makes a surprisingly close substitute, carrying its own solid magnesium content, along with similar creamy texture once blended, though the flavor leans slightly more savory than sweet. Either way, this shake tends to become a household favorite fast, largely because it doesn't taste like a health drink at all. Number 6. Amaranth Cacao Drink, the actual battle ration of the Aztec army. This is the drink I teased at the very start, and the history behind it is more remarkable than most people realize. Amaranth was so central to Aztec military and religious life that conquering Spanish forces eventually banned its cultivation outright, precisely because it was considered a source of strength and endurance for warriors heading into combat. Toasted amaranth grain, sometimes mixed with a touch of honey and cacao, was carried as portable rations because it delivered dense, sustained nutrition in a small volume. Amaranth carries a notably higher magnesium content than most common grains, alongside a more complete amino acid profile than wheat or rice. Recent lab analyses of traditional Mesoamerican grains have confirmed what oral history always claimed: amaranth's mineral density, combined with slow-digesting starch, would have provided exactly the kind of steady, crash-free energy an army on the march required. To make this drink, simmer a quarter cup of amaranth grain in a cup and a half of water until soft, then blend it with 1 tablespoon of cacao powder, a banana, and a splash of milk until smooth. The grain's natural thickness gives this shake a hearty, almost porridge-like body. This is a drink to make when you need sustained physical output over hours, not minutes, and it carries a piece of history most nutrition content never touches. Amaranth has quietly resurfaced in recent years as a favorite among endurance athletes and gluten-free households alike, since it cooks up similarly to quinoa, but carries an even more pronounced nutty flavor once toasted. If you can't find amaranth grain locally, most well-stocked grocery stores now carry in the same aisle as quinoa and other ancient grains, and it keeps for months when stored in a sealed container away from light. If toasting the grain yourself, use a dry skillet over medium heat and shake the pan frequently, since amaranth's tiny seeds pop slightly when toasted properly, similar to miniature popcorn, and burn quickly if left unattended for even a few extra seconds. Number 7. Soy Cacao Warm Drink. 2 magnesium powerhouses combined. Soy has been a dietary staple across East Asia for thousands of years, valued as a complete plant protein long before Western nutrition science caught up to its benefits. Soy milk carries a meaningful magnesium content on its own, and when paired with unsweetened cacao, you get a genuinely bioavailable mineral combination in a warm, comforting glass. Warm 1.5 cups of soy milk gently on the stove, then whisk in 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cacao powder until fully dissolved. This drink can be enjoyed warm in the evening as a calming ritual or chilled over ice as a refreshing daytime option. The combination of soy protein and cacao magnesium has been studied for its mild effects on relaxation and vascular health, and the warmth of the drink itself helps trigger a parasympathetic response, the body's natural rest and digest state. Traditional East Asian households often serve warm soy-based drinks, specifically in the evening, understanding intuitively that warmth and ritual mattered as much as the ingredients themselves in signaling the body to shift into rest. A small pinch of sea salt at the end brightens the cacao flavor considerably and, in small amounts, helps the body balance the sodium-potassium-magnesium triangle that governs proper muscle relaxation. This is a drink to make in the hour before bed, when you want your body to start winding down rather than gearing up for another task. If soy isn't part of your diet, oat milk is the closest substitute in terms of texture and gentle sweetness, though its magnesium content runs somewhat lower, so you may want to add an extra half tablespoon of cacao powder to compensate. Either version works best served in an actual mug rather than a glass. The small ritual of holding something warm has its own quiet, calming effect that's easy to underestimate. Number 8. Black Bean Cacao Smoothie, the unexpected legume that fuels deep recovery. Beans are rarely thought of as a smoothie ingredient in modern kitchens, but legumes have been blended into drinks and porridges across Latin American and West African food traditions for centuries, as an accessible source of sustained energy and minerals for entire families. Black beans are dense in magnesium, fiber, and plant protein, and when blended with cacao, banana, and dates, the earthy bean flavor disappears entirely, leaving behind something that tastes remarkably like a rich chocolate milkshake. Blend half a cup of cooked black beans, 2 tablespoons of cacao powder, 1 banana, 2 pitted dates, and a cup of milk until completely smooth. The fiber in the bean slows sugar absorption dramatically, meaning the magnesium and natural sugars in this drink release gradually over hours rather than spiking and crashing. If you've been skeptical that beans belong anywhere near a smoothie, This is the drink that will change your mind. The resistant starch in black beans also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and a healthier gut microbiome has been linked in emerging research to more efficient mineral absorption across the board, meaning this smoothie may quietly improve how well you absorb magnesium from everything else you eat that day too. If you're seeing the pattern here, that real magnesium recovery requires both concentrated whole food sources and smart pairings that improve absorption, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this video reach more people looking for science-backed answers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the moment. If you're using canned black beans rather than cooking them from dried, give them a thorough rinse under cold water first, since this cuts a significant amount of the added sodium found in most canned varieties without affecting the texture or magnesium content of the finished smoothie at all. Let's keep going. Number 9. Oat Banana Breakfast Smoothie, the grain that steadied generations. Oats sustained working populations across northern Europe for centuries, prized specifically because they provided slow, steady energy through long days of physical labor in cold climates. Oats carry a solid magnesium content, along with soluble fiber, that supports steady blood sugar and gut health. Blend a third cup of rolled oats, 1 banana, a tablespoon of peanut butter, and a cup of milk until smooth and slightly thick. This drink functions almost like a liquid breakfast, delivering fiber, protein, healthy fat, and magnesium in a single glass that keeps you full and calm for hours. The peanut butter adds its own magnesium contribution along with satiating protein, making this one of the most practical entries on the entire list for busy mornings. Traditional oat porridges were often eaten before dawn by farmers and laborers precisely because they provided sustained strength without a crash, and this smoothie version delivers the same steady support in a form you can drink on your way out the door. Oats labeled specifically gluten-free are worth seeking out if sensitivity is concerned, since oats themselves are naturally gluten-free, but frequently cross-contaminated during processing, a small detail that matters for anyone who's ever felt unexpectedly sluggish after what should have been a simple, wholesome breakfast. Prep a double batch of the dry oat and peanut butter base the night before, and this becomes a 30-second blend job on your most rush mornings. Freezing overripe bananas in chunks ahead of time is another small habit worth building, since it means the smoothie comes out thick and cold without needing any ice, and it gives you a productive use for bananas that would otherwise sit on the counter going soft and getting thrown away by the end of the week. Peel them before freezing, not after, since a frozen banana in its skin is nearly impossible to peel cleanly, and portion them into single-serving freezer bags, so you're never stuck thawing more than you actually need for one smoothie at a time. Number 10. Peanut Butter Cacao Shake, comfort food engineered by nature. Peanuts have long been a staple protein source across West Africa and the American South, often ground into pastes and stews that provided dense, affordable nutrition for entire communities. Peanut butter carries a respectable magnesium content, and when paired with cacao and banana, this shake becomes something that tastes like an indulgence while functioning as genuine mineral support. Blend 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cacao powder, 1 banana, and a cup of soy milk until rich and creamy. The fat from the peanut butter slows the absorption of the natural sugars in the banana, creating a sustained, steady release of energy rather than a spike. This is a shake to reach for in the middle of the afternoon when energy and mood both start to dip, because the magnesium here is working directly on the nervous system's stress response, while the protein and fat keep you satisfied for hours. Peanuts, unlike tree nuts, are technically a legume, which is part why they carry a slightly different mineral profile that includes notable manganese alongside their magnesium, a combination that supports the enzymes involved in bone and connective tissue maintenance, as an added benefit beyond the calming effect most people notice first. Choose natural peanut butter with no added sugar or hydrogenated oils. The ingredient list should read simply peanuts, maybe with a touch of salt, nothing more. For anyone managing a peanut allergy, sunflower seed butter or almond butter both make a smooth substitution here, without meaningfully changing the preparation, and both carry their own solid magnesium contribution. So the mineral benefit of the drink stays largely intact regardless of which base you choose. Number 11. Spinach Pineapple Green Juice. Tropical hydration meets deep relaxation. This drink does something most green juices don't. It hydrates and relaxes the nervous system in the very same glass. Spinach contributes its dense magnesium content, while pineapple brings both hydration and bromelain, an enzyme studied for its mild anti-inflammatory properties. Cucumber adds even more hydration along with a small additional magnesium contribution, and lime brightens a whole drink while supporting mineral absorption. Juice or blend 2 cups of spinach, 1 cup of chopped pineapple, half a cucumber, and the juice of 1 lime. If you're using a blender rather than a juicer, add a splash of water to thin it to a drinkable consistency. Hydration status directly affects how efficiently magnesium moves through your bloodstream and into your cells, which means a dehydrated body absorbs and uses magnesium far less efficiently than a well-hydrated one. This juice solves both problems in a single glass, and its bright tropical flavor makes it one of the most enjoyable entries on this entire list. Cucumber in particular is often overlooked as a mineral source because people think of it purely as water, but its skin carries a small, genuine magnesium contribution. One more reason to leave it unpeeled when you juice or blend it. If you're using a traditional juicer rather than a blender, save the leftover pulp for composting or for adding fiber back into soups later, since juicing separates out the fiber but leaves the minerals concentrated in the liquid itself. Fresh pineapple gives the brightest flavor, but frozen pineapple chunks work just as well nutritionally and make for a colder, thicker finished juice if you're blending rather than running it through a traditional juicer. Either way, rinse your equipment immediately after use, since pineapple's bromelain content can start to break down rubber gaskets and seals if it's left sitting for too long. Number 12. Avocado Cacao Smoothie. Rich, dense, and deeply restorative. Avocado and cacao might sound like an unusual pairing, but this combination has become a staple in health-focused kitchens across Central America, where both ingredients originated and have been cultivated for thousands of years. Avocado brings healthy fat and its own magnesium content, while cacao contributes one of the richest magnesium concentrations of any food on earth. Blend half a ripe avocado, 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cacao powder, 2 pitted dates, and a cup of milk until completely smooth and pudding-like in texture. The healthy fat from the avocado dramatically improves the absorption of magnesium and other minerals, meaning the smoothie may deliver more usable magnesium per serving than drinks with higher magnesium content, but less supportive fat around it. The texture here is thick and satisfying, almost like drinking a chocolate mousse, which makes this one of the easiest entries on the list to actually stick with long-term. Avocado also brings potassium in a ratio that traditional Central American diets paired instinctively with cacao long before anyone understood the specific synergy between potassium and magnesium in relaxing smooth muscle throughout the digestive tract and blood vessels alike. Keep a few avocados ripening on your counter on a rolling basis. A smoothie like this one is the fastest way to use one at the moment it hits peak ripeness, before it ever has a chance to go to waste. A ripe avocado should yield gently to light pressure at the stem end, without feeling mushy throughout. And if you find yourself with one that's slightly past its prime, this smoothie is actually the perfect place for it, since the touch of over-ripeness disappears completely once it's blended with cacao and dates. Number 13. Tahini Date Shake. The Middle Eastern staple hiding in plain sight. Sesame seeds have been cultivated and ground into tahini across the Middle East for thousands of years, used in everything from savory dips to sweet, restorative drinks served to those recovering from illness or exhaustion. Tahini is surprisingly rich in magnesium, and when blended with dates, banana, and a touch of cinnamon, it becomes a shake with a nutty, caramel-like flavor that tastes far more indulgent than its humble ingredients suggest. Blend 2 tablespoons of tahini, 3 pitted dates, 1 banana, and a pinch of cinnamon with a cup of milk until smooth. The natural sugars in the dates are balanced by the fat and fiber in the tahini, preventing the kind of rapid blood sugar spike that would otherwise blunt the calming effect of the magnesium. This drink has been used across generations in the Levant as a restorative tonic after physical exhaustion, and its rich, slightly sweet flavor makes it one of the more memorable entries on this list. Sesame seeds are also one of the few common seeds that carry meaningful calcium alongside their magnesium, and the two minerals work together in a carefully regulated balance inside the body, which is part of why whole food combinations like this one tend to support steadier results than isolated mineral supplements taken alone. Look for tahini with a runny, pourable consistency and a mild, nutty aroma. Overly bitter tahini has usually been sitting too long or made from over-roasted seeds. Tahini naturally separates in the jar, with the oil rising to the top, so always stir it thoroughly before measuring it out for this shake. Medjool dates work best here for their soft, caramel-like texture, but if all you have on hand are the drier Deglet Nor variety, soak them in warm water for 10 minutes first, so they blend smoothly rather than leaving small, fibrous chunks behind. Number 14. Flax Berry Smoothie, the seed of steady nerves. Flax seed has a long history of use across Northern and Eastern Europe, where it was cultivated not just for fiber, but ground into meal and stirred into drinks believed to support digestion and calm. Ground flax seed carries a meaningful magnesium content, and because whole flax seeds pass through the body largely undigested, grinding them first is essential to actually access their minerals. Blend 2 tablespoons of ground flax seed, a cup of mixed berries, a third of a cup of rolled oats, and a cup of plain yogurt until smooth. The berries contribute anthocyanin antioxidants that help protect the nervous system from the oxidative stress that chronic low magnesium status tends to worsen, while the yogurt adds probiotic support and a creamy texture. This smoothie has a tart, refreshing quality that makes it a favorite for breakfast, and a combination of fiber, protein, and magnesium keeps blood sugar and mood remarkably steady through the entire morning. Flax also carries lignans, plant compounds studied for their gentle hormone balancing effects, an added benefit layered on top of the mineral support this smoothie already provides. Buy flax seed whole and grind small batches yourself in a coffee grinder rather than purchasing pre-ground meal, since ground flax oxidizes quickly and loses potency within weeks, while whole seed stays stable in a sealed container for months at a time. Once ground, store any leftover flax meal in the refrigerator or freezer rather than cupboard, since exposure to heat and light accelerates the breakdown of its beneficial oils considerably faster than most people realize. Number 15. Chia Cacao Pudding Drink, a thinner take on an ancient staple. This entry takes the same chia seeds that fueled Aztec runners and combines them with cacao to create a drinkable version of chia pudding, thin enough to sip rather than spoon. Combine 2 tablespoons of chia seeds with 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cacao powder and a cup and a half of milk. Then let the mixture sit in the refrigerator for at least 20 minutes, so the chia begins to gel and thicken the drink slightly. Stir well before drinking, since the chia will continue to settle. This combination delivers magnesium from 2 different concentrated sources at once, chia and cacao, while the gel-like texture of the chia slows the release of nutrients into the bloodstream for hours after you drink it. Some people prefer to sweeten this lightly with a date or a touch of honey, though it's rich enough to enjoy completely unsweetened. This is the drink to prepare in the evening and sip slowly, letting the magnesium work on your nervous system as you wind down towards sleep. Because this drink thickens over time, some people prepare the night before and let it sit in the refrigerator until the next evening, allowing the chia to fully hydrate and the flavors to deepen, a small patience that traditional preparations of chia-based drinks across Mexico have always relied on. This is also one of the easiest entries on the list to batch prepare, since you can portion into several small mason jars at once. Keep them stacked in the refrigerator, and simply grab one on your way out the door for a genuinely grab-and-go option that still delivers a concentrated dose of magnesium. Number 16. Cashew Spinach Mango Smoothie. Tropical creaminess meets deep mineral density. This smoothie combines 2 entries we've already discussed, cashews and spinach, with mango and coconut water to create something that tastes bright and tropical while delivering a serious magnesium payload. Blend a 1/4 cup of raw cashews, 2 cups of spinach, 1 cup of chopped mango, and a cup of coconut water until completely smooth. Coconut water itself contributes electrolytes, including potassium, which works alongside magnesium to support proper muscle and nerve function, meaning this drink is doing double duty as both a magnesium source and a broader electrolyte replacement. The mango sweetens the drink naturally and makes the spinach nearly undetectable, which makes this an excellent entry point for anyone who's hesitant about green smoothies. This is one of the most refreshing drinks on the entire list, and it works particularly well after physical activity or on a hot day, when your body needs both hydration and mineral replenishment at the same time. Coconut water has been used across tropical regions for generations as a natural rehydration drink long before commercial electrolyte beverages existed, and pairing it here with cashews and spinach turns a simple rehydration habit into a genuinely complete mineral-restoring drink. Fresh mango works best when it's in season. Frozen mango chunks are a reliable substitute year-round and blend into an even thicker, colder smoothie without needing extra ice. Not all coconut water is created equal, so check the label for one with no added sugar and a genuine electrolyte profile listed, since some heavily processed versions on grocery store shelves have been diluted and sweetened to the point of barely resembling the original fruit water at all. Number 17. Barley water. The monastery brew almost nobody talks about. Here's the drink I teased right at the start, and its history runs deeper than most people expect. Barley water was brewed and drunk in European monasteries for centuries, prepared by monks who simmered whole barley grains and offered the resulting liquid to travelers, the sick, and anyone who arrived exhausted at the monastery gates. It wasn't dressed up or sweetened much. It was simply considered restorative. Barley is a genuinely underrated source of magnesium, and because it's typically consumed as a strained liquid rather than eaten whole, the minerals dissolve directly into a form that's remarkably easy on the digestive system. To make it, simmer half a cup of pearl barley in 4 cups of water for about 45 minutes, then strain out the grains and keep the liquid. Add the juice of half a lemon and a small spoonful of honey, if you like a touch of sweetness. Ounce for ounce, this simple liquid delivers more magnesium than a glass of milk, largely because a long simmer draws minerals out of the grain and into the water itself. concentrating them in a form your body absorbs with almost no effort. This is the entry that surprises people most, since it requires the least glamorous ingredient on the entire list and still holds its own against nuts, seeds, and cacao. Pearl barley cooks faster and produces a milder tasting liquid, while whole-less barley takes longer to simmer but retains slightly more of its natural mineral content. So either works depending on how much time you have on hand. Let the finished liquid cool to room temperature before refrigerating it in a sealed jar, where it will keep comfortably for up to 4 days, ready to be poured over ice at a moment's notice. Number 18. Quinoa Breakfast Shake, the ancient grain of the Andes. Quinoa was cultivated by the Incan civilization high in the Andes Mountains, where it was considered sacred and referred to as a mother grain, prized for sustaining strength and endurance at extreme altitude. Quinoa is technically a seed rather than a true grain, and it carries a notably higher magnesium content than most common grains, along with a complete amino acid profile that includes all 9 essential amino acids. Blend half a cup of cooked, cooled quinoa with 1 banana, a tablespoon of almond butter, and a cup of milk until smooth, adding extra liquid as needed to reach a drinkable consistency. The combination of quinoa's complete protein and dense magnesium content with the healthy fat from almond butter creates a genuinely sustaining shake that can function as a full breakfast on busy mornings. Andean communities relied on quinoa for thousands of years specifically because it delivered sustained energy at high altitude, where the body's metabolic demand are elevated, and that same sustaining quality translates directly into steady, crash-free energy today. Quinoa also carries iron and manganese alongside its magnesium, a trio of minerals that work together in the body's antioxidant defense systems. Cooking a large batch at the start of the week makes this one of the fastest shakes on the entire list to throw together on a rush morning. Always rinse raw quinoa thoroughly under cold water before cooking it, since the grain carries a natural coating called saponin that can taste noticeably bitter and soapy if it isn't washed away first, a small step that makes an outsized difference in how pleasant the finished shake actually tastes. Number 19. Magnesium mineral water, the overlooked source hiding in plain sight. This might be the simplest entry on this entire list. Certain natural mineral waters, sourced from specific springs around the world, carry a naturally high magnesium content dissolved directly into the water itself, in a form that research suggests may be absorbed even more efficiently than magnesium from some solid foods. European spa towns have built entire wellness traditions around specific mineral springs for centuries, with visitors traveling long distances specifically to drink water from a particular source believed to restore vitality. The key is reading the label carefully, since magnesium content varies enormously between mineral water brands, and only a subset are naturally high enough in magnesium to make a meaningful contribution to daily needs. Look for waters that list at least 50 milligrams of magnesium per liter on their label, and consider this your baseline hydration for the day rather than an occasional treat. This is the easiest possible entry point into magnesium repletion, requiring no blending, no preparation, and no ingredients beyond simply choosing the right bottle to store. Some of the most well-documented naturally magnesium-rich mineral waters originate from volcanic spring sources, where the surrounding mineral-rich rock leaches magnesium and calcium directly into the water table over the course of decades, a slow natural filtration process no factory can replicate. Once you start reading labels for magnesium content the same way you check sodium or sugar, you may be surprised how many popular bottled waters contain barely a trace of it, while a handful of specific brands quietly outperform them all. Sparkling mineral water carries the same magnesium content as its still counterpart. So if you prefer the carbonation, there's no nutritional trade-off to worry about, and it can make an easy, satisfying substitute for soda if that's a habit you're trying to shift away from. Keep a bottle in your bag or on your desk as a default choice, and this becomes one of those quiet, effortless habits that compounds over months without requiring any conscious effort at all. Number 20. Pumpkin Seed Cacao Recovery Shake, the full circle finale. And here we are, number 20. The drink I saved for last because it combines nearly every major magnesium mechanism on this entire list into a single glass. This shake brings together pumpkin seeds and cacao, two of the most magnesium-dense foods in existence, with banana, oats, and soy milk to create something that functions as a complete recovery drink. Blend a quarter cup of raw pumpkin seeds, 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cacao powder, 1 banana, a third of a cup of rolled oats, and a cup of soy milk until completely smooth. What you end up with is a drink that delivers concentrated magnesium from 3 separate sources at once, alongside protein, fiber, and healthy fat that slow the release of everything into your bloodstream for hours of sustained support. This is a shake to reach for after the hardest physical days, when muscles are tight, the nervous system is frayed, and sleep needs to come easily that night. It represents everything this list has been building toward. Whole food ingredients thoughtfully combined, delivering one of the most essential minerals in the human body in a form your ancestors would recognize, even if they never had a word for magnesium itself. Every ingredient in this final shake has already appeared somewhere earlier on this list, and that's intentional, because true nutritional recovery was never about finding one miracle ingredient. It was always about understanding a small handful of whole foods deeply enough to combine them with purpose. This shake also freezes remarkably well in individual portions, so consider blending a large batch on a Sunday, pouring it into small containers, and freezing them flat, then simply thawing one in the refrigerator overnight whenever you know a demanding day is coming. So real recovery is waiting for you the moment you need it most. If you made it all the way here, you've just received a complete, science-backed blueprint for restoring your magnesium levels from every angle. Let me leave you with the framework. Reach for concentrated seed and nut sources like pumpkin seeds, cashews, tahini, and almond butter when you need the most magnesium per glass. Lean on cacao and soy in drinks like the cacao banana elixir, the soy cacao warm drink, and the peanut butter cacao shake when you want both mineral density and genuine comfort. Use green and hydrating combinations like the Spinach Avocado smoothie, the spinach pineapple juice, and the Cashew spinach mango smoothie when your body needs both minerals and hydration together. Round out with grains, seeds, and legumes like oats, quinoa, amaranth, flax, chia, and black beans for slow, sustained release throughout the day. And never underestimate the two simplest options on this entire list: a humble pot of barley water and a genuinely magnesium-rich mineral water sitting quietly on a grocery store shelf, waiting for you to actually read the label. One more thing worth remembering as you start building these into your week. Magnesium works best when it's consistent rather than occasional. A single incredible smoothie on a Tuesday won't undo weeks of depletion, but rotation of 2 or 3 of these drinks folded into your normal routine, one in the morning, one after physical activity, one in the evening, builds a steady reserve your body can actually draw on. Pay attention to timing too. The calming cacao and seed-based drinks toward the end of this list tend to work best in the evening, when you want your nervous system to downshift, while protein-forward shakes like the oat banana smoothie and the quinoa breakfast shake are better suited to mornings and the hours right after physical work, when your muscles are actively repairing and can put that magnesium to immediate use. None of this requires perfection. It requires the same thing traditional food cultures always relied on: showing up with real ingredients day after day, and trusting that the body knows what to do with them once you get the raw materials it's been asking for. You also don't need every single ingredient on this list sitting in your kitchen at once. Pick 3 or 4 drinks that genuinely appeal to you. Keep those specific ingredients stocked, and let the rotation build itself naturally over the coming weeks rather than trying to overhaul your entire pantry in a single afternoon. Small, repeatable habits outperform ambitious ones that collapse under their own complexity within a week, and that's exactly why this list was built around simple recipes using ingredients you can actually keep on hand consistently, not rare or expensive superfoods you'll use once and then forget about in the back of a cupboard. Print out or bookmark this list. Circle the 4 or 5 that sound most appealing to you right now, and start there. The rest will still be waiting whenever you're ready to expand the rotation. And if a week goes by where you only manage one of these instead of 3, that's still one more than most people drink in a month. So don't let an imperfect week talk you out an otherwise good habit. It's worth sitting with how many of these 20 drinks trace back to a culture that already understood their value long before a laboratory could measure it. Aztec warriors carrying amaranth into battle, Incan farmers cultivating quinoa. At altitude, most crops can't survive. Monks in quiet stone kitchens simmering barley for exhausted travelers who showed up at their gates. Levantine households grinding sesame into tahini for the sick and recovering. West African cooks grinding peanuts into paste that sustained entire families through lean seasons. None of them had a word for magnesium, but every one of them built food traditions around ingredients that happened to deliver it in abundance, generation after generation, long before modern science had the tools to explain why it worked. Following that same instinct today, reaching for whole ingredients instead of isolated pills, is simply continuing a pattern that's already proven itself over thousands of years. It's easy, living in a world of single nutrient supplements and isolated powders, to forget that whole foods almost never deliver just one thing at a time. Every drink on this list is quietly stacking magnesium alongside fiber, protein, healthy fats, and a whole supporting cast of vitamins and plant compounds that work together rather than in isolation, which is likely part why traditional diets built around real food have held up so consistently well across so many different cultures and so many centuries of scrutiny. This isn't a supplement protocol. This is a drink strategy, and it's available to anyone at any age, starting today. Smash that like button if this video changed the way you think about what's in your glass. Drop a comment below and tell me which one surprised you most. Are you team pumpkin seed, team barley water, or team amaranth? I read every single comment, and I genuinely love hearing from you. And if you haven't subscribed to Healthy Roots yet, click that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. We're building a community that takes nutrition seriously, evidence-based, practical, and deeply connected to how the body actually works. Because the most powerful healing tool doesn't come in a bottle from the pharmacy. It comes from your own kitchen. And now you know exactly what to pour into your glass.